Okay, ito si Father Julie Basco, dating secretary ng cabinet secretary ni Tatay Digong. Sasita po si Father Julie Basco po.
Kasi aktibo si Archbishop na nagsuporta during the campaign of for presidency si President Duterte. I understand this is a gathering of religious leaders at a very crucial time in our history. So, sa lahat na nandito ngayon, magandang hapon.
Palakpak!
Salamat din ako na nabigyan kaming pagkakataon na makipag-usap sa inyo. Anyway, lahat naman nabanggit ang pag-usapan ni Attorney Pig yung problema na hinarap natin ngayon. Pero yung sa akin lang, it's because we are religious leaders leading our respective flock.
Tandaan niyo po, ito po si
I have
Father Julie Basco, dating secretary
that there is
ng cabinet
silence
secretaries ni
among
Tatay Digong
church
Duterte. Siya po yung taga-Bukol.
organizations and congregations in our country. It may be because during the time of the martial law, the church was very much into the campaign against martial law. In fact, so many of the priests, and in fact there were so many bishops who had been imprisoned. And in fact there is one priest, or there was one priest in Cebu who until now is missing, Father Romano.
Kalimutan ko, daling daw ko.
Many
No.
priests also
Pang-vlog talaga.
were imprisoned and tortured. In fact, there was one from Leyte
Xiaomi.
who was tortured inside prison, but when he was released, he died as a result of the torture.
Yung mga anak ni Lomi.
There were also nuns. There were so many pastors from different denominations who participated in the anti-Marcos campaign during the martial law. But unfortunately, when Duterte came in as president, he exposed the hypocrisy of the Catholic Church, particularly among bishops and priests. There was no mention, because President Duterte is not so conversant with the way other congregations and denominations are being managed. But based on his experience, he was so mad at what the Catholic Church, the priests and the bishops were doing in our society, tinkering on political life, and yet they were so silent in their secret enclaves in their rooms. That was what Duterte was doing. You know, there were attempts to change our constitution, but because of the church, it was not moved towards its successful conclusion because the church stood as an obstacle to such move. Whether it was good or not, I don't know. There were so many moves on the part of government. If the Catholic Church does not like or did not like, it will not move because the government or the administration at the time were afraid to cross paths with the Catholic Church. That's why with that background, Duterte was hitting the Catholic Church. And precisely because of that, the Catholic Church is so silent now. They were so anti-Marcos during the anti-martial law struggle, and they were so mad at Duterte when Duterte was the president in our country. That's why he opted to keep silent. I am addressing this to all denominations, including and particularly the Catholic Church, that let it not be said at the end of the day that church people have been silent in the face of oppression, in the face of suppressions of rights, in the face of difficulty and pain among our people right now. Let it not be said that the Catholic Church and other church people or religious leaders are silent just because they would want to be convenient in between Marcos and Duterte. The struggle is not between Marcos and Duterte. The struggle is between this administration against the Filipino people.
You know.
This administration that has failed to respond to the basic needs of our people. What they did for the past 2 days in Davao, they were distributing loads of money. They flooded Davao with money to 250,000 people coming from Davao City and the neighboring provinces of Davao City. They flooded Davao with money. Davao was awash with money, food stuff, money for scholarship of students. While on one end, Typhoon Enteng ravaged Metro Manila and many parts of Central Luzon. Was there an administration agency distributing food, distributing money to victims of calamity? Wala. Unfortunately for so many of the areas in Metro Manila, it was the office of the Vice President who did the distribution of foodstuffs. While Martin Romualdez and all the congressmen, there were more than 200 congressmen and senators who were present there for 2 days, September 4 and 5. Happy that they were distributing money that they did not own or they do not owe. Money that's supposed to go and help people, especially in times of distress and in times of calamity. Kaya, hindi ito away ni Duterte at si Marcos. It has something to do with this administration failing to respond to the claim of the farmers for assistance. Alam mo ngayon, walang assistance farmers. So there is no systematic production of foodstuffs in our country because this administration, in cahoots with big traders and suppliers, opted to import what we need in our country. From rice to itlog, manok, baboy from outside because they earn so much while our farmers are suffering. You know, if our farmers also will go into production, paano?
5 minutes.
Ang cost of production is so high. Fertilizer, insecticide, lahat. Labor, mahal. That at the end of the day, kung mayroon na silang produkto, it is sold at 12 pesos per kilo. Paano? So yung mga farmers na lang will just go for labor jobs. Doon na lang sila sa construction. So wala nang maiwan doon sa ating mga farmlands to produce what we need to eat. So ito yung problema ngayon. So I'm happy with this initiative coming from you, religious leaders, coming from other denominations in our country. Because I know that you are not comfortable. I know you're not comfortable in your conscience that what you are doing right now might not be in consonance with, might not be enough to respond to the sufferings of our people now. So, again, I would rather leave so much time for you to discuss on what you can do, on what we can do. Maisog as a social movement is a movement of so many organizations. journeying in parallel lines towards a common objective. So, nandito yung religious organizations, civic organizations, cooperatives, journeying in parallel lines towards the direction na makamit natin ang isang administrasyon that has the heart and the mind to serve our people now. How will you consider this government led by a drug-dependent couple? How can they come up with decisions, especially in times of very crucial problems confronting our country? Paano na? Kung bangag ka, how can you think well? How can you balance the pros and cons in coming out with a decision that will be beneficial to the Filipino people? Paano yan? So, I would rather leave so much of your time to discuss what you can do, what we can do as people journeying towards a better and good Philippines. Thank you.